Welcome back to Big Easy Garage. I'm Jason, and I guess I'll be your host today. We're back here in the engine bay. I'm going to try to detangle some of this mess, go through some of this wire garbage, maybe pull off a few parts, and start to clean it up a little bit more. Let's get started. If you watched the last video, we started to clean up the engine bay a little bit, pressure washing it, degreasing it, using oven cleaner. And it worked out pretty good, but we haven't quite got to finishing, getting the rust and everything off. We started to get our Milwaukee M12 fuel right angle mini grinder. And, well, let's just say they missed the mark when they made that product. After using it on this frame a little bit, it just kept dying, cutting off. And so we took it back to the store, and I'm working on a replacement of something else. But in the meantime, we're going to try to go through some of this haggled wire, some of this stuff that they cobbled together. We're going to put an LS engine in this truck, so we don't need half the stuff that was on that 305. We don't have cruise control. We don't have an HEI distributor. We're not using the smog stuff that was on there. We don't need a lot of the vacuum lines that were on there before. So we're going to go in and kind of show you some of the things that we need, some of the things that we don't need. We're going to depin some stuff from the Bulkead. We're going to clip some stuff out of the way and just try to get to where we can start tidying this up just a little bit closer, so we can kind of get this engine bay coming around. Probably going to pull off a couple things, some parts that we don't need on here, like this vacuum accumulator type of deal, and a few other things, and just kind of go in. The standalone ECU that we're using is a jackpot ECU, or it's ACES fuel injection. The jackpot, it's all, going to the battery itself, and it's kind of self-sustained. The gauges we're using are the same way. We're not going to be using the dummy lights from the old factory gauges, so we're going to replace it with new sensors and stuff on this LS, and the gauges are going to be standalone, so we're not going to need a lot of those wires. So let's dig in here. Let us get you in here. We'll show you exactly what we're going to take out from the get-go. There may be a few things later on that we pull out, but for the time being, let's just go in here and show you what we pulled out so far and separate it, and then we're going to clip it and take it from the bulkhead and eliminate it, and hopefully we can kind of tidy up this engine bay just a little bit more. And then once we get it all cleaned up, rust-free, then we'll paint everything, spruce it up really nice, and hopefully you guys will like the finished result. Let's get in here and let me bring you in and show you what we got going on. All right, so this is our factory bulkhead here, and it's got a bunch of different wire looms coming out of it. We're going to be using some of these wires, but not all of them. For instance, this particular wire loom coming out is going to all of our headlights, our horn, side markers, turn signals, that sort of thing. We're going to keep that. We're also going to keep these two here for our windshield wiper motors. But this in here, some of this is going to go, and we really need to decipher which ones we're going to keep and which ones are going to go. So let's follow this back around and see if we can't go through here. So we've already actually got this entire pile pulled to the side, and I kind of go through some of these and show you what they are, if I know, if I can remember correctly, and which ones we're going to pull away. We do know that this purple wire is our ignition wire, and we are going to keep that. We definitely need that to go to the starter. These two wires are also went to the starter before, and so we're going to keep these two wires. We're going to use a one-wire alternator, so we're not going to use some of the alternator wires, but these are going to provide constant power to other parts. So we're going to retain these two red wires, and we're going to retain this purple wire. And then this green wire actually goes to the AC, and we're not going to use all the wires on here. I think the new AC pump will be a little different, but we are going to retain that because I don't want to cut that off at the moment until I absolutely need it. I've been told that I don't need these. There's one here, and there's actually one that goes right here. I don't really know what these are for, but from what I can tell, they are some sort of vacuum wires and that sort of thing, and I don't think we're going to retain those. I'm not sure what this is for, so we're going to leave that in for now, and I got a couple other ones down here that I'm not sure about. Going back over here, We do know, like I said, we had some dummy wires in there. So we've got a plug here that went to one of the oil pressure dummy lights. We're going to get rid of that because our gauges are going to be monitoring that for us. We do know that this one was something similar to that, and you could tell it hadn't been used in a decade or two because it's completely ground down. We've got a plug wire here. I believe this is the one, if I can get to it, that went to some of the distributor and cruise control, maybe. So one of those, but either way, I'm not having either one of those. So that's going to get out of there. Trying to see if there's any more. I got another one here that went to one of those. You could tell it is now halfway melted off. So we're not going to be using that. And I think there may be, well, in here somewhere was a water temp sensor that I'm not going to be using. So therefore that one's going to be deleted on too. We will have a water temp. We will have oil pressure and those things. But like I said, our ECU, our jackpot ECU from Aces is going to monitor it itself with their connections. But we also have gauges that are going inside that are aftermarket gauges, and those will have also plugs sensors on the block itself and in the heads, and we'll be using those to monitor it on the gauges. So we'll actually have kind of a dual monitoring on that. But right now, this gauge, all these wires is clustered. We're going to clip those close. That way I know which ones, when I pull this bulkhead off, I'll know which ones to unpin, and we'll get to that. So let me go ahead and grab my clippers, and we'll snip these off real quick. We'll get them unplugged and see if we can't get that bulkhead out and kind of show you how to depin this. All right, so hopefully you guys can see that got you in here a little bit closer. But these are, like I said, the wires that we're going to be working with. And so I'm just going to trace them back one at a time, get them a little bit closer in here. So when I do pull this bulkhead off, I'm not fighting with a bunch of long wires, trying to figure out which red or pink wire or whatever to depin. So this one was, we traced it back. We're going to go ahead and cut it. That was one of those oil sensor dummy plugs. So we're going to get that out of the way. Look in here. Got another something. I think this was actually to the cruise control, if I'm not mistaken. But it has it's like a red and a blue wire attached. I'm going to trace it there again. Back in here. And I think that's the red one. So we're going to go ahead and clip it. And then here's the blue one. We're going to go ahead and clip it and get that out of the way. Now guys, this is going to be what I need for my rig and what I'm putting in as far as the engine and the standalone ECU and the different gauge cluster and that sort of thing. Your truck or car, vehicle, boat, whatever it is, it's going to be completely different, I'm sure. I'm just trying to give you guys a little bit of heads up of how I'm doing things, let you guys follow along with my build, and just kind of give you some entertainment while we're at it. So we're going to chase this green one back. This one was for the coolant, I believe. There again, it didn't actually have a gauge in there. It was just a dummy light for the coolant. So now that I got that, we're going to clip that out, get that out of the way. A lot of these wires too, guys, are super crunchy. So they're, even if I needed them, I would need to replace the connectors on them. Here's one I'll show you guys. So this one is actually, let me get it out of here. This one's actually going to the alternator. These two wires right here that's the alternator clip. And that went to our alternator on our 305. I hope you guys can see that. Anyways, but it's two wires. It's a red wire and a black wire. I think it's black, maybe brown. Either way, these are not staying. We're using a one-wire alternator for our LS engine, and I will not require these two wires. So we're going to trace these back, get these in here, clip that, get that out of the way, and then now I got a brown wire I got to locate. It's in here somewhere. Oh, there it is. I think that's it. Yep. Get that out of the way. All right, so now the old alternator wires that were plugged and patched and cobbled together. Those are now out of the way. And then we've got one here that I've got to trace back and find. And it was one, I think this was to either HEI or it was to cruise control, one of the two. But like I said, I'm not using either one of those. So that one is not necessary either. And actually this was already cut up in here 2 or 3 times where the previous owner tried to splice some stuff in. So that one would have to be fixed and repaired even if we used it. So now that we've got that out of the way, we're really working with, like I said, the ignition wire and then the 2 constants coming through. So that's gonna clean that up a lot. And hopefully that won't be an issue. So let me grab some tools. We'll get this bulkhead fitting out of here. We're gonna take this actuator off right here too, because we won't need it. So that's kind of in the way. That'll clean up the firewall. And then we'll look at some other stuff and we'll go from there. Be right back, guys. All right, so got our 10mm socket. We're gonna get in here, see if we can't get this out. This will be the first time I'm doing this, so you guys are learning right there with me. If you have any questions, I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a welder. I'm not a painter. Matter of fact, I don't have any trade experience at all. I'm just kind of getting in here and trying to save some money and doing it myself and enjoying the project and seeing what I can come up with myself. So I highly encourage you guys to try to do the same thing. You know, just take your time, watch as many videos as you can, read the books, and just go from there. Not sure how to deepen this, but we're gonna figure it out together. I'm sure it can't be too difficult. If I can just get my big old mitts in there to get it out. There we go. All right, well that came out pretty good. All right. Oh yeah, let me get you in here and show you these prongs, and then we'll figure out how to get this out together. So this is what the front side looks like. There's just a 10mm bolt head or socket, you know, it's a bolt head, but when they plug in there, and then the back side's got the bolt, and then you got some straight pins there. We're going to try to grab our pliers, see if we can't push that through. We've got a pick or two that we'll try to work in there as well, and see what we can't do. But let me get those tools, and we'll jump in and try to do this together. Well, updates. I'm not sure this is worth it. I've gotten like 2 out of 8 unpinned. Never give up, never quit. Round 2. All right, we had progress. We finally got them out of here, and we got the bulkhead bolted back up. Apologize for not showing you exactly how I pulled them out, but the reason for it was trial and error, and I wanted to make sure that I knew how to do it so I could explain it to you versus us struggling through the video together. So here's what's going on. On the back side of it is an actual flat spade connector. This one's a little dirty, but what it is, it's a flat spade. This one's, both of these are kind of examples. Basically, if you take this, let me get a pointer. If you take this and fold it back, it makes a spade terminal. And that's what you see sticking out. The spade terminal or the male terminal is actually split in the middle. And I took the punt or the pin, the punch, whatever, and kind of shimmied in there and twisted it up. So therefore it wouldn't grab as I pulled it out of the front. So I hope that makes sense. Basically, if you were to spin this over and fold this part back down, you would have a rectangle spade male plug that would fit into your female end on the back side here for your connection for your fuse box and all. Anyways, I just slid this into here. I twisted it, kind of pried it up a little bit because there's teeth on the back side under all of this grease and gunk. But there's there's little teeth back here that are holding it inside the plastic piece on the bulkhead. So if you could spin it up, then on the front side of the bulkhead, I took a pair of pliers, which I will show you here. I bought these because they were kind of a 6-in-1 or whatever. I got these at Ace Hardware. They're just a pair of Milwaukee pliers, but they've got kind of a needle nose that have some teeth on it. And I just grabbed it like so. After I split the terminal, I just grabbed the so, kind of wiggled it a little bit, wiggled it, worked it. You don't want to do too much because obviously you don't want to pull other wires out or break anything, but I was able to pull those out and get those done. So now what we're left with are our loom for all the front lights, the headlights, the high beams, the low beams, the turn signals, the marker lamps, the horns, all that. We have the 2 connections for our wiper motors, and then we have our ignition wire for our starter, and then the 2 starter wires that are going to be constant power to basically the rest of the chassis wire, loom, whatever you want to call it. And then, of course, we have this over here, which is going to our air conditioner and a couple other things I'm not sure about, so I didn't clip those just yet, not until I figure out what I need. But, hey, guys, I mean, that's a pretty good start for the day. There was a bunch of these little things, and I got them out. And now we're going to take away this vacuum actuator. We don't need it. Where we're going, we're not going to need it. 1mm bolt at the top. We got a 2mm bolt at the bottom. We're going to get that out, and we'll be right back. All right, we got that insightful vacuum bubble out of here. It's gone. Out of there. Last thing we're going to address on this firewall area here is this thing right here. This actually has a rubber hose, and it has a wiring harness loom going into the dash. It runs right up under the gauge cluster, and it comes out. It's dead-ended right up under the steering wheel area. If I'm not mistaken, this is all going to be for speed control, like cruise control from the factory 305 that was in here. All of this is going out. So inside is pinned in, so I can't get it out from here at the moment, but I've got to go in and depin some stuff and basically pop some plastic clips. But if you want to trace it, it goes here and up through here, and then here is the rubber hose that is connected to it, along with this right here. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that is what goes to part of the cruise control. I'm not sure, but I believe it's vacuum actuated. And before I pull it out, I'm going to double check to make sure. But that's what I have read, and that's what I've watched. So if that is the case, then we're going to pull that. And then that'll give us a whole lot more breathing room to kind of get in here, clean some stuff up, scrub it up. And then we're going to paint this entire firewall and the brake booster and frame rails and all that good stuff. So definitely stay tuned for that, guys. We should be coming up in the next video. We've got all of it coming up, but right now, like I said, my grinder is on the fritz, and so I've got to get something else to clean it up with. And so I thought I'd send you guys video some wiring. So anyway, check us out. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. We're growing it. We've got about 15 subscribers. It's not many, but we just started this about 3 days ago. So please help us out with subscribing. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Comment down below. Just say hello. Say your truck's a piece of shit. Say you love the truck. I don't know. Just comment. Speak to me. Let's get involved. Let's have some fun. And let's get to building this K10, man, because this thing, I think when it's said and done, it's going to rock. It's going to be a good-looking truck. We're going to put it up on roughly 33s. You know, change out all of the weather stripping, and we've got, I don't know, plans for a paint job and all kinds of stuff. So, I don't know, it'll be a fun project over the next year. And hopefully, you know, if you guys are in any of the car shows like Hot Rod Power Tour and Cruising the Coast in Biloxi, Mississippi, and I don't know, maybe I'll make it over to LS Fest East sometime or whatever, but maybe we all can catch up and have a good time once this thing's running. But like I said, it's probably going to be about another year. Anyways, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Appreciate it, and have a wonderful day. This is Jason with Big Easy Garage, and I guess I'll catch you next time. Later.